You know that person, right? The one who's just overflowing with confidence, but, well, maybe not so much with actual competence. Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating and honestly kind of weird quirks of the human brain, the Dunning-Kruger Effect.
I mean, this question feels like it's everywhere these days, doesn't it? You see it all the time, on social media, in work meetings, maybe even across the dinner table. You just have to ask yourself, how can someone know so little and yet be so unshakably sure they're an expert? It's a real head-scratcher, a genuine puzzle of how our minds work.
So, this whole puzzle is so common, it actually has a scientific name. But before we get to the fancy term, let's just call it what it feels like, the confidence paradox. Let's break down what this actually looks like out in the wild. Okay, we have all seen this exact scene play out. You've got the person who's talking the loudest, acting like they've just reinvented the wheel, but what they've actually built is, well, a total mess. And then, over in the corner, you have the real expert, quietly and skillfully getting the job done. This massive disconnect between how confident someone is and how skilled they are, it's not just them being arrogant. It's something deeper, like a glitch in our psychological wiring.
And that's the key thing here. This isn't just some random personality quirk. Nope, it's a predictable, well-studied thing called a cognitive bias. Think of it like a specific bug in our brain's operating system that psychologists have been looking at for a long, long time.
All right, so it's time for the big reveal. Let's put a proper name on this thing. This cognitive bias is called the Dunning-Kruger Effect.
And here's the absolute core of it, the part you really have to get. It's not just that these folks are wrong. It's that their lack of knowledge basically makes them blind to how wrong they are. They literally don't have the mental tools to even spot their own mistakes.
Okay, so why? Why does this happen? What's the actual mechanism going on here? Well, the answer comes down to a really important mental skill, or in this case, the complete lack of it. We're getting to the heart of the problem now, and it's all about something called metacognition.
So what the heck is metacognition? The easiest way to think about it is, it's your brain's own quality control department. It's that little voice inside your head that's supposed to step back and go, hey, wait a minute, does that actually make sense? Am I missing something here? But when that internal manager is, taking a nap, every single idea just gets rubber stamped and sent out the door, no questions asked.
Right? And this really shows you what that disconnect looks like inside their head. They're feeling like they've just won the gold medal, a perfect, shiny result. But the reality, well, the reality is a jumbled mess. They're confusing that feeling of being right with actually being right. And they can't tell the difference because the skills you need to spot the flaws are the very skills they don't have.
And this whole thing creates this incredibly powerful, vicious cycle. So check this out. It starts with just not having the skills in a certain area. That's step one. Then, because they don't have the skills, they can't see their own mistakes. That's step two, which then leads to step three. They can't even recognize what real skill looks like in other people. So what's the end result? Step four. They just stay stuck, completely confident in their own abilities. It's more than just a feedback loop. It's like a perfect little prison they've built for themselves in their own mind.
So, okay, what do we do with all this? What's the big takeaway here? And this is super important. This isn't just about pointing fingers and spotting this in other people. It's really about understanding that this is a thing that can happen to any of us. The lesson here is an old one, but a good one. You gotta know yourself.
All right, let's just quickly recap the most important things to remember. First, this is not about being dumb or having a low IQ. It's specific to one area. You could be a rocket scientist who is a terrible gardener and has no idea. Second, and this is the big one, the skills you need to be good at something are the exact same skills you need to realize you're bad at it. It's a total catch-22. And that means, yep, all of us can fall into this trap in some part of our lives. So what's the way out? The only real defense is something called intellectual humility. Basically, always being willing to think, maybe I'm wrong about this, and staying open to learning.
And that leaves us with a really tricky final thought. It's so easy to see the Dunning-Kruger effect in other people, right? But the whole point of the bias is that it's invisible when you're the one experiencing it. So I'm just going to leave you with this to chew on. If it was you, how would you ever know?